So I never really played FTL while it was popular. I guess I'm just a little hipster like that, but late in the night last week, after a few too many beers, I actually bought the game for some reason and realized it was hard as fuck. That was the sudden inspiration I needed to see if I could actually try and beat this RNG nightmare of a game. I picked the Kestrel because it's the only ship I had, named it something appropriate, and started my terminal disease of an adventure. As soon as I left the first beacon, someone tried to scam me and we had a fight, so they surrendered. Things kind of carried on like that until I'd made it to the end of the sector. When I reached the final beacon, I had two choices, Nebula or Nebula. Naturally, I chose the Nebula and got in a bunch of fights that I wasn't quite ready for. Don't get me wrong, I had a choice in the matter, but I guess I'm just one aggressive motherfucker. Plus I had two shields already, so overconfidence was the word of the day. Before long, I'd made it to the end of the sector and had basically all of my hull remaining. That's when I had an absolutely delightful encounter with an Engi bomber. Now this dude pissed me off. His drone was constantly shooting my missiles out of the sky and my lasers were doing fuck all. While all this was happening, it was shooting me with an overpowered laser and an ion blaster all fucking things, which was doing a number on my shields. I said fuck it and jumped away like a pussy. In fairness, my main goal was survival, not the maintenance of my ego. More uncomfortable fights followed and I was at the end of the sector with half my hull and an impressive 35 scrap. In the next sector, this beast of a ship nearly destroyed me. I fucked it up, then repaired my hull at the next stop. The next battle was rather tense as I didn't have enough power to do any damage and keep the oxygen generators running, which led to this situation, which was a bit of a close call to say the least. Plus you'll actually notice that I just forgot to turn the oxygen back on afterwards, which made things rather interesting. The rest of the sector was pretty fucking boring to explain, so I just won't. Just imagine me absolutely destroying randos in the depth of space. Now the next sector was very cash money as I had some lovely fights, nearly killed some of my crew and ran out of fuel. With a distress beacon on and me patiently waiting with no fuel, snacking on some of those mini Reese's peanut butter cup things, you know what I fucking mean. A Slug cruiser came to sell me some fuel. See, I didn't actually have enough scrap to buy any of the fuel, so we kind of had a fight over it. I somehow survived and blasted the Slug ship into oblivion, except that didn't actually happen and I just fucking died. Now, for some reason I thought it was a smart idea to try a new ship and a new approach, even though most of the time I don't know what the fuck is going on in this game. I named the ship appropriately and carried on with another bullshit attempt. I kicked things off by deciding I hated my ship and losing 25% of my fucking hull to some wanker with an actually competent ship. This became a bit of a trend of me losing almost a quarter of my hull every time I encountered an enemy, spending all the scrap I fucking earned repairing my mistakes. When I actually made it to the end of the sector, I had fuck all hull left and fuck all in the way of scrap. I jumped to a slightly friendlier sector and cracked on with a ship I absolutely hated. As much as I would have loved to buy some new weapons at the next shop I encountered, they didn't have any, so I had to make do with repairing my hull and waiting at the next shop. The next few fights I had went absolutely terribly and I found another ion cannon, which safe to say, I didn't want. The rest of the sector was pretty fucking barren, with me having maybe 2 fights, neither of which actually went very well, don't get me wrong. Now this is when I decided to hire another crew member to help out with the shields. I even managed to find a shop with weapons that weren't complete dog shit. With a full arsenal, a new crewmate, and an average amount of scrap, I was ready for whatever the galaxy could throw at me within reason. After this, I had some lovely fights which chipped away at my hull and then came across this absolute twat. 3 fucking shields, a beefed out hull laser, and 2 fucking drones. Yeah, maybe I needed a different approach. And a new ship. Fuck this Engi ship, and fuck drones. They are way out of my comfort zone, I am too dumb to use them. With my new Kestrel appropriately named, I jumped into the first waypoint and attacked a pirate. I had a particularly stressful battle in this sector with a Mantis ship as they continued to send crew over to me to come fuck us up while I continuously tried to suffocate the intruders. In the end though, I killed them and got lucky with a hull repair. The battle that followed went absolutely terribly, leaving me on 8 hull points and a broken oxygen generator. It was fine though, it's not like I was about to run out of fuel or anything. Thankfully, luck was on our side, and although we had no hull, broken systems, and a fire somewhere out on the ship, we actually did some decent damage to the enemy and survived. Now we had 5 whole hull points, no fuel, and broken systems. I jumped to a shop, somehow, and repaired what I could. We then got caught up to by the Federation and got absolutely fucked sideways, but still somehow destroyed it, leaving us with 3 whole hull points. You'll never guess what happened next. With the last ship very, very dead, I was ready to give my all on one last shot. Let's just hope that this wasn't some anticlimactic fucking nightmare like the last one. Speaking of this one, I named my ship, got into the game, and as usual, immediately got into a fight. The difference being I wasn't actually meant to kill these guys, so for some reason, I actually wasn't a murderous monster. as per fucking usual. They gave me a fucking halberd beam right off the bat. You'll see how that came in handy later, as it's a pretty decent weapon. The fights that followed were pretty boring, and I didn't actually have the beam equipped yet. I still won the fights at least. At some point I found myself in a nebula of all places and got invaded. It was a bit fucking stressful, and there were 3 of them in all. But luckily they didn't kill us, so we cracked on. We were actually getting good, it seemed. Before long, I'd actually equipped the halberd laser and was focusing on upgrades of the ship itself, increasing our dodge and eventually our shields. This kept going until sectors passed us by like anything. We were making some serious scrap. By the end of Sector 3, we had 3 shields, full dodge, and nearly full weapons. We were fucking unstoppable for once in this absolutely bullshit game. A good trend actually continued, and we basically became a one-man US Navy just in space. We rushed through about 6 sectors in half an hour, destroying anything we came across, practically making Hulk Hogan noises through the intercoms as intimidation and a display of confidence. Fucking fuck that name, how does he say it? I even started accepting people's surrenders because I had a lot of scrap and was so overpowered I kind of felt bad for them. This led me gracefully to the final sector. The Federation had caught up and it was time to take on their flagship destroyer. Now this was a hulking beast of a ship. 4 very powerful weapons, 3 shields and lots of hull. Fuck, it could even turn invisible, which was a nice touch. The fight was surprisingly close, with me chipping away at its hull and it at mine. I focused all my attention on the shields, hoping to make the following shots easier, but every time I damaged them they just repaired them again. Then came a crucial moment. My incessant targeting had paid off, and I could actually do damage to the ship. Then? Yeah, it was still fucking alive. I guess this boss battle has like 3 phases. Either way, I tried my best to fight again, and paid off somewhat with somehow surviving the encounter for a second time. Even with their 6 fucking drones. 6 drones. 6 of them. It looks like a swarm of fucking bees. Either way though, I destroyed the ship for a second time. It would be really annoying if I had to fight it for a 3rd time, and I did because it's FTL. I tried to make my way to a repair station so I could, repair, but because the game is a lovely experience, every time I traveled to one it disappeared and then became an enemy, which is absolutely lovely. And then this happened, which was nice. I had already beaten the battle, and no, the game decided you're gonna die now. So I did. I was kind of disheartened and couldn't be fucked to sift through more than 3 hours of footage, so kind of called it quits. In fairness, I technically killed it twice, even if they are just phases of a boss battle. Also, I was playing on easy mode, so for that last one, the furthest I got doesn't even really count. Safe to say I'm pretty shit at the game, but it was pretty fun. The mix of stress-induced anxiety about small orange bars turning red and relief from buying upgrades, coupled with the absolute intrigue on what the fuck will happen when you jump to the next beacon, makes you lose all sense of time when you're playing it. Not that my opinion is either well thought out or valid.